Hey y'all, welcome back to what I'm on today. Today we're going to be just discussing, like, are we really buying these classic bags still in 2025? Let's talk. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, welcome back to what I'm on today. Of course, I am Lakia Chanel, and today I wanted to start the conversation of the bags that we are buying in 2025, right? I feel like the classics have always been a thing, but I am wondering if we are still buying these classics in 2025. When I started collecting in 2019-ish, like, all the rave for me were really to have like three key like staple bags. Like everybody said, and who is everybody? The YouTube handbag community. They told me that I needed to have a Louis Vuitton Speedy and a Louis Vuitton Neverfull, which I never added to my collection, a Chanel Classic Flap, and of course the pinnacle was the Hermes Birkin. And I want to get your thoughts on if these are still the pinnacle bags, and are they still worth buying in 2025? Let's start with the Speedy. I personally love the Speedy. It is a bag, as you guys know, that comes in multiple different sizes, even little nano sizes right now. And I still do think that the Speedy, or let's be honest, any Boston bag is definitely a necessity in your collection. For me, this is kind of like the staple everyday bag. I feel like Louis Vuitton did such a great job with this like super slouchy, canvas, durable situation that they call the Speedy. They've obviously upgraded that with Apparel, and now they have it in leather and all these different types of materials. But I still do think this is a worth it buy in 2025. From a price point, the prices have gone up. But on the pre-loved market, I think this is like one of the bags that you can always get for a really, really, really good price. So for me, just because of the pure functionality of this bag and the ease of it, the durability of it, and I feel like what you're getting for your money, this Louis Vuitton bag is definitely still worth a buy in 2025. Also, there are so many different variations of this that other brands are doing and have been doing. You guys know that I love my MCM bag. I'm going to put this information below for this. But I love this. Like, this is again giving me the Boston bag vibes. Brand new. This is a lot less expensive than a brand new Speedy. I think this one brand new is like between $800 and $900, where a Speedy brand new is, I haven't checked in a while, so I'm going to put the right price below, but I think it's at least like $2,000, $2,500. Obviously, guys, you guys are going crazy over the Coach Rowan. It is a bag that I have definitely thought about adding to my collection so many times. And I've missed out on a couple that I thought would be really good for the collection. But that is one at an amazing price point of $199. So I feel like, you know, while I am not taking back what I said, I think this is a staple and deserves to be in any collection. There are so many other options of Boston bags that if people said, hey, look, I don't need the Louis Vuitton name, I'm open to other brands. Everybody is doing a really good Boston bag right now. So I think that it's still definitely worth it, but also there's an opportunity to like expand away from that too. And other brands are doing it and putting their own little twist on it. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about this baby, the Classic Flap. Back when I purchased this in 2021, I believe, this bag was $7,400. And it was right before price increase. And us, like, if you are a Chanel girl, you are all like into all the different price increases because they have so many every year. This was one of the bags that like you aspired to get. I aspired to get a Classic Flap or any Chanel bag for that matter, thanks to the YouTube community. Is it worth it in 2025 is the question. This bag has absolutely skyrocketed, okay? I think now, I'm going to put the right information below. The last time I checked, this thing was like $12,000, right? So that is an increase of almost $5,000 in like 3 or 4 years since I purchased it in 2021, which is absolutely insane. So if you are a reseller, is this worth it in 2025? Maybe, because who knows, 5 years from now, maybe it's like 20 grand, which is insane. So maybe it's worth it if you're interested in like maybe selling it, but for the price point, it is absolutely so expensive. Do I enjoy a classic flap? And for me, the answer is yes-ish. You guys know how I feel about this particular size, the jumbo, which YouTube told me that that is the size that I had to get. And, but my favorite size is right above me. I think it's above me. It is, which is the maxi, because I love the strap length on the maxi. And they fit very similar to the same amount. But the question is, like, is it still worth it in 2025? And I would say that's going to be a no for me, dog, in my Randy Jackson from American Idol voice. No, like $12,000 for a handbag is so much. And don't get me wrong, in 2021, $7,000 for a handbag is insane. But I think that, to be quite honest with you, in my experience with Chanel, I have gotten, I think I have about 5 or 6 Chanel bags, and they're all amazing quality, the ones that I have. I know that everybody's talked about how the quality has declined, and I'm sure that it has. But I think that $12,000 is still steep for what this bag is, right? And especially when there are so many different variations of the flat bag by other brands. And it just really depends on, like, if you are really, really, really focused on the brand name, or are you focused on like the functionality and the look of the bag, right? I haven't seen as much on my feed, like a lot of people, and again, maybe it's just the algorithm of a lot of people like talking about like all of the different Chanel drops and things of that nature, right? I think a couple of years ago, it was all the rave. I was like into it, figuring out like what was happening, what the drops were. But now it's like everybody's on the Coach bandwagon, right? And I feel like there's so many different bags that kind of give you this same flap feel that are a lot more cost effective. Now, I think Chanel is the first to do it. I am happy to have my Chanel bags in my collection. I have not bought Chanel in a really long time, and it's because the price just is not jiving with my pockets and what I want to spend on a bag like this. And this is kind of like a variation of like what some of the brands are doing. You guys know Coach. Obviously, the quilted tabby has been all the rave, and I think the most expensive quilted tabby is about $650, which is in the size that's larger than this, which is the size 26. You also have Gucci, who's done a similar type of flat bag. This is the super mini. You guys know that they have this in multiple different sizes. But for me, it's still kind of giving the same vibe for much, much less. And we have one of my favorite brands, which is Booty, who has their East-West bag. And this one is in snakeskin and cost a fraction of what this costs. This is probably the same price as the largest, a little bit more expensive than the largest Coach quilted tabby, and this is 100% snakeskin. So I think, to answer my question on this, and you guys let me know what you think, I don't think that the classic flap is indeed worth it in 2025. But let me know, are you still buying this bag? Now let's get into the Hermes Birkin, which we know as the pinnacle of all handbags, right? Is this worth it in 2025? We saw earlier this year the craze for the Walmart Birkin. We've seen so many dupes of the Birkin come out. So I would say for this one, yes-ish. Yes, because people are so in love with the shape, they're in love with the brand. And I feel like as a whole, we may think that this is like the pinnacle like of handbags, right? Getting your Hermes Birkin. I think part of it is the process that you have to go through to get it. The second thing is probably the price point, and obviously like the exclusivity of being able to get one of these. Thank God for the pre-loved market, because I did not have time to play those games, right? And what games are we talking about? Buying an exorbitant amount of stuff just to be offered a handbag. I like to spend my money in the way that I want to spend it, and I want to get the things that I want, and I want them when I want them, right? Good or bad, I want them when I want them. So is it still worth it in 2025 is the question. And I'm thinking on this. So from a price point perspective, I think that this retails, the last time I checked, between about $16,000 for a Birkin 30 in store. On the pre-loved market, you know, you're probably going to pay anywhere between 8 and high 20s. And maybe into the 30s and 40s, depending on the type of leather and or material that you get in your bag. So this is a very, very pricey bag, even on the pre-loved market. I think that this bag is one in which, you know, the quality is always there. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about the quality of their Hermes bag, ever. But also, I don't see many people talking about the quality of their Coach bag either. And not to say that they're the same, okay? I'm not saying that they're the same. But I am saying that both have quality at very, very different price points. And not to specifically compare, because I know that the Hermes Birkin is constructed in a way different way than the Coach bags are constructed. These are all handmade bags. The artisans have years of experience specifically making a particular bag, and that is like they are literally a SME in making a particular bag, right? So from a price point perspective, is this tote bag worth it in 2025? I would say it could be. I think it's a huge price point. It's so expensive. There are tons of dupes out there to give you the look. And then I feel like it's a tote bag. So that means that there are a lot of companies doing tote bags where this could be your everyday bag. As I was doing my video on my new Marc Jacobs bag, I couldn't help but think how similar these two bags are in terms of like the look and the boxy feel of a handheld tote. They are around the same size. Of course, they're not the same. So I think that there are a lot of options to give you the look and the feel of the bag. And I think for this one, it really depends on like if you are really focused on this brand, having this stamp, and having this quality of bag, and if you're open to other things with similar silhouettes. You guys know my journey, and I will hopefully link it here or in the comment section, of actually finding Booty. They make homemade bags, and it was because I was really trying to figure out if I really wanted a Birkin. Like, do I like this tote style bag? I didn't consider myself a tote girl before then. And after like all the research, you know, it still led me to getting a Birkin. So for me, it was still worth it. But I wonder if I would still be interested in doing it in 2025. I think I got this Birkin in 2024 or 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So I wonder if I would still want it in 2025. I feel like I have been straddling the fence on if all of these bags are worth it in 2025. I think that the Speedy is, because it's so cool. And I think in general, a Boston bag is. I think that the Chanel Classic Flap is probably not worth it in 2025. And I think that the Hermes Birkin, I'm going to go with it's still worth it. It is still worth it in 2025. If you're wanting to spend that coin, it's worth it. But there are also so many different silhouettes there are also so many other brands doing similar silhouettes that I think could scratch your itch for these. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Are these classic bags still worth it in 2025? Well, thank you guys for spending yet another day with what I'm on today, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.